Okay, strap yourselves in. I'd like to introduce you to Captain Thomas Boss Frosch of the United States Navy. In 2012, Boss Frosch was selected by a panel of admirals, former Blue Angel commanders, officers, to lead the Blue Angels. Captain Frosch was a commanding officer of the Blue Angels and flew number 1 jet FA-18 Blue Angel unit until November 2015. He joined the Blue Angels after serving as a commanding officer of the Strike Force Fighter Squadron, VFA 146, on board NSA Lemoore, California. His previous assignments included 4 squadrons, where he flew an F-18 Hornet and deployed support of Operations Southern Watch, Allied Force, and Iraq Freedom. Frosch was also selected to attend the U.S. Navy Test Pilot School and deployed to Kabul, Afghanistan as an individual augmentee with the NATO International Security Assistance Force. He attended the United States Naval Academy. He lettered in football, graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in engineering. He was commissioned as an ensign in the Navy, and he also attended the Navy War College, where he earned his master's degree in National Security and Strategic Studies. He has more than 3,500 flight hours and 830 carrier-assisted landings. His decorations include Defense Meritorious Service Award, Meritorious Service, Joint Service Commander Medal, 6 Strike Force Flight Medals, 2 individual air medals, a Combat V, 3 Navy Commander Medals, 1 Combat V, as well as various campaign and unit awards. Gentlemen, please welcome Captain Boss Frosch.
Thank you very much. Hope you guys don't mind if I stay on the floor here. I don't like to get behind the podium, but thank you so much for the warm welcome. I had a great day today. I got up early. I was in sunny Florida at 75 degrees, and I got to come see this beautiful snowstorm. But after the storm, I got to come over to the school, and I'm going to tell you, after being on the Blues for 3 years, I got to see a lot of schools around the country. I've been from Maine to Hawaii, and pretty much every week we try to visit some schools. And I will tell you this unequivocally, that this is by far the most impressive institution that I've ever been to, below college. It's very impressive, and I was in awe today. There were 3 things that struck me today. One, I'm a closet geek, a nerd, so I'm a little biased about STEM. STEM's very near and dear to my heart, and I love going to get involved with STEM, particularly at schools. And the one thing that really struck me today was what you guys did with the STEM program by adding the A, the art. And I think the critical thinking and the communication, those things are so important. And I will tell you, every unit that I've been involved with, the tour wasn't straightforward. There was usually something that we had to figure out, some creative way that we had to come up with something new. And I think it's really a unique thing that you guys have incorporated into the curriculum. So that really struck me. Number 2 were the individuals here. I met some seniors, I met some juniors, I met a 7th grader, and what really struck me was the level of professionalism, the demeanor, the way I can't call them kids, the way the young adults spoke to me. I was very impressed, and it was not just 1 or 2, it was very consistent across the board. It really struck me. And number 3 was the sheer and utter size of Big Joe Markert. Where is he? That's one big man. The last thing that struck me is something that he whispered into my ear. I was a punter in college, and he said, although I think he's going to be a lineman in South Dakota, he said he really wished he could be a punter, but unfortunately he couldn't get his leg high enough. So I wish him the best. When I learned about the STEM, I did, believe it or not, the Navy made a commercial with STEM, And I want to go ahead and play that commercial. I have about 7 videos. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Blue Angels. I'm going to sprinkle it with about 7 videos to try to keep your attention. And then we'll close out the speech with some questions. So I want to throw this first one. It's probably one of the worst videos because I couldn't find it, so I actually had to tape it. But I thought it was kind of very appropriate, so hopefully it turns out. But this is a...
Oh, this is a beautiful display.
And what's this?
A potato clock.
So, Ethan, what do we have here?
I call it my zero-gravity dog walker. The balloons are filled with helium, which are attached to my dog.
Okie doke.
Behold, the incredible power of Mother Nature. Better stand back! This could get pretty epic!
How far you take your STEM studies is up to you. That's because kids who excel in science, technology, engineering, and math will always be in high demand pretty much everywhere in the workplace. In fact, an estimated 1.2 million new, great-paying STEM jobs will be created through 2018. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids.
Anyway, I thought that was very fitting because if you didn't notice, there's a Blue Angel jet in there, although it's quick, but I really enjoyed that. So anyway, again, my name is Captain Tom Frosch. I'm from Michigan, and I joined the Navy 24 years ago. And the last thing I ever thought I'd be doing is speaking to groups like this about the Blue Angels. I saw them as a kid, and it's something I just thought was a dream, but it would never become reality. The Blue Angels are a very a unique organization. It's like no other squadron in the Navy. In 1946, just a little bit of history about it, Admiral Chester Nimitz, after the war, wanted to create a team that would go around not only to inspire people, but really to generate interest in the military because the government was drawing down on in the post-World War II era, as you might imagine. So he wanted to generate interest, generate enthusiasm about aviation, particularly naval aviation. So he generated this team of 4 airplanes started by boss Butch Voris. And it really took off, literally and figuratively. In fact, at one point they had a Japanese Zero in there, and the team would go around the country with these 4 airplanes, and this Japanese Zero in the middle of the show would come in, and some people thought it was real. And this Japanese Zero would come in, and part of the show is to attack this Japanese Zero, and they'd throw a dummy out of the airplane like they just shut it down, and some people didn't realize it was part of the show. As you might imagine, the show has evolved with different airplanes and different shows, and here we are today flying the F-18 in our 30th year. It's pretty remarkable. So I wanted to show you 2 videos. The first one I have is a little sketchy. I don't know if it's going to work properly. We'll give it a shot. It's about a 2-minute video, and then one of my crew chiefs made a video for me that I thought was pretty cool. And the reason I want to show it to you is it's a chance to see what G's look like. We don't wear G suits in the airplane, so we really have to overcome that with tightening our abs, tightening our legs, and there's different techniques that we use. So you'll see in the beginning of it, there's a big ugly guy, that's me, but you'll see the impact of the G on my face. So hopefully you'll get a chance to appreciate that. So we'll start off with video number 2. We'll see how it turns out, and if it doesn't, just bear with me for 2 minutes.
No more destination, no more pain.
we go to video number 3? This is the one my crew chief made, which I thought was pretty neat. All right, there's a little bit of a picture about the Blue Angels, but I just want to talk a little bit about what exactly we do, how the year works, a little bit of the tempo. Most people see the 45-minute show, and that's about it. For starters, could anybody guess how many people are on the Blue Angels? Most people say 6. 4. We got 130 people on the Blue Angels. We got 16 officers and 114 enlisted. So the season starts the day after the last show. The team drops the salutes at the end of the beginning of the show, and at the end we drop a salute, and then at that moment it's like an instantaneous shift in power. The new team's in place. So that very next week the team starts training. The next year's team, about a third of the team is turned over. So you've got 3 new pilots in the Diamond. We have the Diamond and the Delta. What's unique is everybody trains each other. So the first year, the number 2 guy is a junior officer, he's a lieutenant, trains the boss. So as a guy in the Navy who's had 3,000 hours, I'm a commander in the Navy, and I got this lieutenant who's teaching me essentially how to fly in the Blue Angels. And he can't tell me how to fly, he just tells me, hey boss, that was a good loop, hey boss, that loop was terrible, that roll was terrible. He's essentially instantaneous feedback. So the 2 teaches the boss. And the following year, the boss teaches the 2 how to be a 2, and it goes back and forth. So it's a very unique relationship. But 3 new pilots come in, and they start training in Pensacola, Florida. The same thing happens with the enlisted. The officers pick from within the team, and the enlisted also pick within the team. So we're constantly picking our replacements, which is very unique in the Navy. Nowhere else in the Navy does that happen. So we have people applying to the team, and then we pick who is our replacement. And I tell you that because there's just an utter sense of buy-in on the team. Everybody believes in the mission. And the mission has evolved over the years. It used to be about recruiting, and right now we changed it recently after we got sequestered because we wanted it to be bigger than recruiting, but it's essentially to showcase the pride and professionalism of the United States Navy and Marine Corps by inspiring a culture of excellence and service to country through flight demonstration and community outreach. The community outreach has really been something that we've tried to focus on the last few years, even more so. So anyway, we stay in Pensacola for 2 months, and it's pretty rigorous. We fly twice a day, and that's a lot, given in today's fiscally constrained environment and how much you generally fly in the fleet. After Christmas, we go to El Centro. El Centro, California is this desert base, and we stay out there for 2.5 months. We fly 15 sorties a week, which is very significant. It's a lot. It's three sorties a day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then 2 on the other days. And it is grueling. You start off at 5 in the morning, you finish at 7 at night, and interspersed with all this, we have to work out. It's part of our requirement to work out and lift weights because of the considerable amount of G-forces that we have to endure. So by the time we get to March, we've been flying for 5 months, there's 150 flights, and then we're ready for our first show. And once you get into the first show week, it actually slows down a little bit, but we work 6 days a week. It's essentially a NASCAR environment. So on Mondays off, Tuesday we have a practice in Pensacola. Wednesday we have a practice in Pensacola, and depending on the location, we'll generally leave, go to the new show site, or Thursday we'll get up and leave, go to the show site, land, we do media interviews, and then we do an hour of flying around the base, around the air show site. We just learn checkpoints. You're essentially buzzing houses legally. You're just flying over houses, flying over cars, looking for anything that stands out, whether it's a tree, a farm, a building, the subway, a gas station. You're looking for these checkpoints that stand out because everything is done by looking outside. Then after that, we debrief, and then we do another brief, and then we fly a full show on Thursday. Friday, we do a practice show. Saturday, we do a show. Sunday, we do a show. And then after we're done with that last show, we fly back to Pensacola. And then we wash, rinse, repeat. We do that all the way to November. And then in November, the same cycle starts again. And I tell you all that because it's very grueling, not only on the people on the team, but on the families, because this is supposed to be a shore tour for us. And our families don't generally see us very much. and it makes for a long 2 years. It's fun. It's the most rewarding experience of my life, but it's very grueling. So when the sequestration happened, we actually got a third year. We froze our team in place, and we did 3 years, which was great, but it was also even more grueling. So that's essentially the tempo of the year. It's pretty long, but boy, it's something, because you get to go around all these incredible places, meet incredible people, and fly in incredible shows. And it's something that it's very special. What makes the team tick? There's a couple of pillars, and I want to talk to you about these because I think these are things that are going to serve you. Well, you're already doing it in this institution. And the first one, as you might imagine, is teamwork. Like I said, we pick from within. And the foundation of the Blue Angels is teamwork. Everything we do is for the team. We never focus on an individual. In fact, within the ready room, I had a 51% vote as the commanding officer, but we still discussed things as a team. We had I tried rarely to use my 51% vote because we tried to make it a vote, but it really made everything we did about the team. We voted for the team. We voted on how we dressed, how we behaved. Everything we did for the first 2 months before we even fly is learning to be a Blue Angel, and it's a very important part of it because we're always striving for excellence, whether it's flying, whether it's talking to people, certain behaviors. Everything we did is always striving for excellence. So teamwork is the foundation of the Blue Angels. The next thing I want to talk about is trust. People think, oh yeah, I trust him, or I trust that person, but I'm talking about a profound level of trust where your life is at stake. On the ground, there isn't a pilot in the world that doesn't pre-flight his own airplane. And every day I would get up, I would hear my jet starting. I fly the same jet. Everybody tries to fly the same jet. We have backup jets, but I generally fly the same jet. So I have 2 crew chiefs, and we all have 2 crew chiefs, and my crew chief would wake up about an hour before me and pre-flight my jet. He'd start it up, go through all the checklists, handle any emergencies. He would do it all, and I'd be waking up to it when we were in El Centro. When I got out to the jet, he would tell me, hey boss, jet's ready to go. That's it. I would get in, because we don't want to, the startup for an F-18 takes about 15 minutes. We don't want to spend that time starting while the crowd's going to go to sleep if you're sitting there starting a jet, so we let our crew chief start it. Incredible amount of trust to let a person who, my crew chief was an ordnanceman, never started a jet in his life, and he's starting my jet on a daily basis. The maintenance, there's so much maintenance that goes on these jets. Believe it or not, the Blue Angels fly the oldest F-18s in the Navy. The F-18 was designed for 6,000 hours, and we're approaching 8,000 hours on most of the jets. So although they look tremendous, they're very old. And these maintainers are absolutely incredible, and they stay up. We have a crew rest issue. I can't even stay up. We have to go to bed within 12 hours before our flight. These guys would work around the clock to get these jets flying. So the amount of trust that goes into getting these airplanes is so profound to get them in the air. Now in the air, it's a whole other thing. We start off with essentially a crawl, walk, run, sprint mindset. And a lot of people ask, how close do the Blue Angels fly? And it starts off pretty far apart. In fact, let's everybody hold your hands out and take a look at the end of your hand. We're probably farther than your hand in El Centro. And then by halfway through the season, if you look at your elbow, we're getting to the elbow. And believe it or not, by the end of your season, you're at your shoulder. And people say, that's impossible. You can't fly that close. But when you find a way to trust and work with people and work with a level of discipline that these guys work with, you can. And I got a video that a guy took from the back seat of the 4 spot. The Diamond has 4 jets, so the slot pilot's the number 4 jet. And he was in the back with a phone, and he taped it. And I actually cringe, because I don't fly formation. I'm always the lead, and I never fly formation. But when you see this video, you would truly be able to see how close we fly. So video number 3. That, believe it or not, is the hardest maneuver in the whole show, and it's the most graceful. We fly in front of the crowd in Diamond. It's our parade pass, and it's the most difficult maneuver in the whole show for two reasons. Number one, we fly with a 40-pound spring. So when we hook up the spring, you take the stick, you hook up 40 pounds on it, and you're flying with a 40-pound spring for 45 minutes. But number two, the amount of error, if this was the stick, you literally can't move it a quarter inch, because if I did, it would hit the guy on the left. And the guy on the left is looking up at my wing like this. I could fly him into a building, I could fly him into the water, and he would never know the difference. So the amount of trust there is, I call that video the epitome of trust. I have a picture hanging on at my house. It's the most amazing picture for me, because this guy trusts me with his life, and I'm trusting him with my life. We just can't move. I have another one here, and the reason I want to show this is my favorite maneuver. It's called the double farble. And years ago in the 70s, it used to be the single farble, and it was named after the Nestle dog, the farble. And then they added a second jet to it. It's now the double farble. And you'll see here, this is in Chicago, and the goal here is to fly up the jetty, and there's 4 jets. This is a GoPro from the back of the 4-jet. There's 3 on the left, 2 on the right, and this is the 4-jet, and you'll see in front of the 4-jet is me. And the reason I like this is because every time we roll in, we got this down to 150 feet. Every time we roll in, right before we'd roll in, I'd say, I would never roll inverted here. And then we roll in. And it's the craziest thing. And then we just fly down the show line, inverted, and then 4 joins up on me, inverted. So this is a pretty good shot of it. And then I'll show another one that shows how close he gets. Go ahead, please. Thanks. This next one is another gentleman who was flying with us with his iPhone, and we got a good shot here of how close we get. I share this with you not to brag or show off, but to show you the level of precision and trust that 2 human beings, 4 human beings, 6 human beings can achieve just by working together and having the same goals and the same discipline. And it's something that when you watch it, you're like, I can never do that. And it's just amazing how it works just with discipline and hard work. Before I go into this video, there's probably the most important part of developing the Blue Angels is accountability. After every flight, we sit down in the brief, and I start it off, and we talk about our mistakes. And I write it down on a piece of paper, and I'm talking about starting from the day I drove in, I was speeding, my pen wasn't in my pocket, I left the zipper up, to I was 10 feet low on the double farble, I was 30 knots fast on the diamond roll. I have a sheet, it takes me about 5 or 10 minutes to get through it. It's all my deficiencies. So let's say my wingman flew too close to me, and believe it or not, it can happen, he can bump me with air, with the airflow around his wing, and it can make me move my stick. So I might say, hey, I had a little a roll bobble. I would never say because of you. I would just say the facts. I would debrief my deficiencies. And it would go around the whole room. And then at the end of the debrief, we would watch the video. Every day we watched our whole show, 45 minutes. And we'd get to those little spots, we'd say, hey boss, why did you do that? Or I did, the goal is to find out who did what instead of going, hey, you caused me to do that. It's amazing how people start taking ownership of their own mistakes. Like, I forced you to move like that, or I caused you to do that, or this was my fault. And what that ownership did, it just develops this level of trust that enables you to do those kind of maneuvers. The accountability on the Blues was the most important part of the whole thing. And if you don't hold yourself accountable for your mistakes, you can never build that level of trust that you need to attain to be in a high-performance organization. That's what we like to call ourselves, a high-performance organization. By far the most important part. I want to talk a little bit about adversity. This is my favorite video of the year. We have a very tremendous privilege. We get to fly the enlisted on our team. Everybody gets one flight. So this guy's Chief Bill Curry, never flew in a jet, and he flew in the back seat of the Ford jet for 45 minutes. And at this point, it's 35 minutes, and this guy is spent. Because you have to sustain G's, you have to lock your legs, lock your stomach, and just grunt. And if you don't know what's coming, it's really miserable. It's like being with a really bad driver for 45 minutes. So this guy is hurting. And this is a maneuver, and you'll hear Ford talking to him, okay, Bill, the G's are gonna come. And you stand by. And he knows it's coming, but he's giving it, this is just pure human will giving it everything he can. And you'll see the result of his, we'll just let the tape speak for itself.
Mark 385 to the Merced. All right, look at 2 on our left wing. When he breaks his wings, we're going to follow him. It's going to be 7.5 G's here. All right, buddy. Get after it. Here it comes. He's full roll out. 300, 500 feet. I got you, Betty. Betty, got you on both. Bubble. Hey, Bill, you all right? 380. Correction, 300. I was freaking out there for a second. I think you're out. 310 coming on.
The reason I love that maneuver so much is right when most people who ride with us wake up, they kind of figure out what's going on. People wake up differently, but right when they wake up, I'm not kidding you, it's just about when 7 G's are going to come back and he gets knocked out again. It's the worst part of the whole flight. The reason I show you that is because that's the epitome of adversity. That guy was embarrassed by showing that video, but he let us post that. We posted that on Facebook. And the reason he wanted us to post it is he wanted other people to learn from it. That's what happens when you don't do the anti-G straining maneuver properly. That's what happens when you don't work out. That's what happens. So we use it as a teaching tool for other people who fly with us. But that's the way he dealt with his adversity. So there's going to be adversity in everything you do, everywhere you go. And I just show you that, that was the way he handled that. That's the way our mindset was in the Blues. We're always striving for excellence, and we're always showing others our mistakes and learning from them, not blaming others, but learning from our mistakes to try to improve our organization to make us excellent. Very, very powerful video. I share all these things with you, and there's one thing after another. There's discipline. There's work ethic. There's just so many things that we could talk for hours, and I could show you tons of videos. But I share these with you because these are all tools that are going to serve you in anything you do, anywhere you go, whether you're just in a family, whether you're playing golf, whether you're at work, whether you're on a sports team. These are things that are going to serve you well. And if you strive for excellence, focusing on team, focusing on accountability, focusing on trust, you can achieve amazing things. And you're already doing that. You're already getting things that I can't even dream about. Being leadership, learning about morals, and aside from your education, this institution's absolutely amazing. You have an incredible opportunity, and if you really hone these skills, you guys can take it to another level. Speaking of opportunity, I want to tell you a quick sea story. I know I can go on and on. This is a sea story about opportunity. Back in 1935-ish, there was a young man in Germany named Adolf. And it wasn't Adolf Hitler, but his name was Adolf, I'm kid you not. And this man had an interest in aviation. So he joined the Luftwaffe. And he was in the Luftwaffe, and he couldn't fly, so he was a radio man and a gunner. Eventually the war ended, and this man ended up going to the Western Front, and he was in charge of French POWs. Eventually the war ended, and he left. He had, essentially at war-torn Germany, he got rid of his uniform, went to this town near his base where he met this young lady, and lived in this hometown, and eventually married this young lady, and they started to have a family in Germany. The opportunity, as you might imagine, was a little bit limited in Germany, so they decided to go to the United States, the land of opportunity, with $5. He went ahead before the family with $5 and started a new life, and eventually shipped some money back to Germany and brought the rest of the family over. Well, in 1976, that man took a young boy to an air show to share his dream of aviation with him. And that young boy saw the Blue Angels, and 40 years later, that young boy's here speaking to you right now. That was my dad. And I love that story because this is a man who just wanted to fly and did everything he could to do that, but didn't have quite the opportunity, but gave it to me. And then I saw that, and it lit a spark. Boy, I just knew I wanted to fly. The one thing I was missing was having a goal, having a dream, and having a plan. I had a dream, I had a goal, I guess, but I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what to do with it. And I was in high school kind of waffling around, I was playing football. I loved playing football. I was going to school, I was getting B's, B pluses. But I just really wasn't taking advantage of the opportunity that I had in front of me. Well, I got what I call an opportunity wild card. An opportunity wild card is where somebody upstairs, God says, I'm going to give you a chance, maybe to do something you didn't think you could do. I kicked a leather football. And because I kicked it, I went to a terrible high school. We were the worst football team. In fact, we played another team that was the worst football team. Our bowl game was the battle of nothing versus less, and we were less. We lost. We were so bad. But as a punter, I got recruited, and I got to go to the Naval Academy. You'd think I would wake up, I barely got through the Naval Academy. I struggled, but I wanted to play football, and I was an engineer, but I barely got through. It wasn't until I was 22 years old, and I finally said, man, I got to buckle down, because I know I can do it, but I'm really not doing everything in my power to do my best, to be excellent. Strive for that level of excellence. Maybe studying instead of going out, maybe just doing that little bit of extra. So when I was 22 years old, I finally woke up, and that's when I finally, everything I did was, I'm going to be the best, I'm going to be the best, I'm going to be the best. And I tell you that now, not to brag, but I'm giving you guys 4 to 5 years head start than I had. I didn't have my dad said you got to work hard. I just didn't know what I needed to do. And I'm just telling you, there is a way, if you can work just that little extra bit of effort, maybe just doing a little bit more on the weekend, whatever it is, those goals, those dreams are attainable if you start early. And I'm telling you this, I don't want you to all to rely on the opportunity wild card. Control your destiny, open the options up as early as you can in life, and the world will be your oyster. There's so much available to you out there, and you guys are already way ahead of the game. I called my wife yesterday, I wish we could bring up my kids to this school because it's a tremendous institution. Seize the opportunity, take advantage of it, and I know I'm looking at the future leaders of America. You guys are really incredible, and I wish you all the best. Before I close, I have one thing I wanted to give. Something you probably have all learned about are challenge coins. They started, you probably know more about it than I do. But I believe they started in World War II, and they were a way to identify what units you were a part of. And every commanding officer in a unit has a challenge coin. So I have a couple that I brought, and I like to give them to people that have done something that stood for excellence recently. And I asked the colonel, I forget his last name, Jack, help me out. Colonel DePulio gave me 2 individuals, and I just wanted to call them up and offer them a CO's challenge coin. Cadet Major Mark Bastians. Mark, from scratch, created a cadet database that captures all promotions, awards, physical fitness scores, individual co-curricular activities, and military duty positions for 520 cadets. His work was commended during Thursday's federal inspection. Is Mark here? Oh, well, I'm going to have to give this coin to you, Jack, and you got to make sure you shake his hand when you give it. The second young man is Cadet Major Joe Cagle. I think he's here, right? Joe led a 45 cadet honor guard to over 50 community events this semester that included social functions honoring Medal of Honor recipients and several alumni funerals. The honor guard was also commended during Thursday's federal inspection. Nice work. Nice work, sir. Thank you. I'll tell you what. You give this one to Mark? I will. Okay, you got to shake it. Whenever you give a challenge coin, you always shake hands and present it like that. So there you go.
Thank you.
You bet. You bet. There was one more coin I wanted to give, and unfortunately this person couldn't be here tonight. My son, I have 2 boys and a girl, and my middle son is about this big, and he is Mr. Football. He knows everybody. He wants to be a pro football player. He wants to do this, but he says, Dad, I'm too small. And I said, son, I went to school with this kid, and he was the smallest guy on the football team, but I'm going to tell you, that guy would hit people harder than you can imagine. I would stand on the sidelines warming up my leg and making sure my jersey was clean as the punter, but I got some up close views of what this guy could do. And not only was he a leader on the field, he was a leader off the field. He was somebody that treated everybody with respect. He worked well with people, which is another thing I strive for you to do, to strive to work well with people. But he was just a person that everybody looked up to. And I wanted to give him a coin tonight, so instead I'm going to give it to his son. Jack, this is for your dad, Chris Cordero. And last but not least, Tom, I don't know where you went. I wanted to present one thing to the Academy. Tom's he still here? Tom, could you join me up here? A couple months ago, Chris Cordero called me and asked if I'd be willing to come up here and speak, and I thought it was a tremendous honor. But at the time, I didn't know quite as much as I do now about the institution, but what a remarkable place. I appreciate the opportunity to come up here and share an evening with you guys. I look forward to watching you guys grow to be the future of America's leaders. And thought we had a special lithograph last year that we did, and it was very appropriate, particularly for this institution. But it's a picture of our team flying over the Pearl Harbor in 2014. Thank you, everybody. My hat's off to each and every one of you, and I wish you all the absolute best and fair winds and following seas. Thank you so much.